Hi guys, me again. So it is still Friday today. Do you like my zipped up hoodie? It's massive and it is fluffy. My sister bought it for me for Christmas and it is lovely and warm. Right, I've started my list of what I want to grow. I've gone into detail with the beans and the peas. Just because, and the tomatoes and the beetroot, because there's so many of them. When I first started my allotment, I used to grow a lot of beans for eating fresh, for freezing, and then I got into different varieties of beans, and you could grow them to dry, so you could store them then all winter. This year, because I know they're easy to grow, I know last year wasn't a great year for beans. We're going to give them a go this year. They're easy to maintain. I don't have to do a lot with them. Bit of tying in maybe for the climbing ones, and just make sure the bush ones are not getting eaten by the slugs and snails, and that the seeds aren't eaten by mice. But apart from that, they grow quite easy compared to a lot of stuff. So then, let me get my beans. I've got beans for drying, climbing beans, here we go. I've got a massive bag full. My first ones are climbing beans, climbing French green beans. Now then, I always used to grow Blue Lake. It's a really good, reliable variety, which are okay. But if you leave them too long, they do get stringy. So you have to pick them really, really young. And then somebody introduced me to Cobra. These are the seeds that I got from Sutton's the other day for 89p. I got them delivered yesterday. Somebody mentioned on one of the videos in the comments that Sutton's had a seed sale on, so I went over there. Now these Cobra beans are really expensive usually, so I thought, right, I'm having some. They're usually $3.99 for 70 seeds, and these are gorgeous, completely stringless. Doesn't matter how big they grow, they are lovely and they're really nice flavour. The only thing is with these is they like heat. So if we have a cold, damp winter, they don't do as well, but these ones will, the Blue Lake will. So that's why I'm not taking any chances this year. I'm going to grow both of them. So I've got Blue Lake and Cobra for my green beans. So I've got my early purple climbing French bean. I don't know what these are called. I got them in a seed swap. They are a heritage type, so they're not an F1, so these seeds can be saved. They are super, super quick to grow. I can plant all these beans together, and these are, I'm picking beans for a couple of weeks before these, the green French ones, even think about flowering. They're really good. The only thing is they don't stay purple when you cook them, they turn green, but at least then you know that they're cooked. And I've also got a climbing French bean called Helder, and this is a mix between a runner bean and a green bean. So they're really long and flat like a runner bean, but they're smooth and stringless and gorgeous like a French bean. Oh, and I love them. You can also dry these beans like a baked bean, not as round as a baked bean. I am trying a runner bean called Black Knight. This was also from Sutton's, 89p, 20 seeds. The pods are purple, so they're easier to see, but the only problem is you've got to pick them when they're really young. So we will see how, because they get really stringy apparently, so we will see how these get on. I have tried so many times to grow runner beans, stringless varieties, and they are tough and horrible. I love runner beans, and so does my dad, but we eat a lot of them raw, and I like eating the beans inside as well. Look how gorgeous they are. Beautiful. I'm really excited to grow them. I've also got runner bean Polestar that I grew last year. Okay, so the rest of these climbing beans now are for me to save them for the seeds inside, the beans inside, and dry them. So So I have got a climbing bean, which is it's a cocoa bean, and they're small and round like a baked bean. I've never tried to eat these fresh, but I'm presuming you can. Oh, it's also known as a lazy housewife bean. Oh yeah, okay, so it has a flat green pod and a stringless and can be eaten whole when young, or shelled for the bean inside. Okay, so that's a multi-purpose one, but I've never eaten these when they're young. Because they take a bit longer to grow, I'm scared that I won't have any beans left over for drying, so I always leave them on the plant for drying. I've got a white butter bean called Kazar, and this is, oh, dropped it, thrown them all over the place. This is a runner bean, but I don't eat them as runner beans. I save them for the beans inside and use them as a shelling bean, and they're gorgeous. They're a great alternative to a butter bean. And then I have got, where are they? Gigantes. So these are massive white beans. Again, a runner bean, but they're big and fat, and you only get like a couple of beans in each little pod. They're gorgeous. And again, use them for butter beans or just in soups and stews and stuff like that. I've also got this black bean. Again, I don't know what this is called. It's a heirloom variety. It's a black bean inside. And it doesn't matter how big or small these runner beans are, they are stringless. They are full of string and tough as old boots. So yeah, I never ever grow these to eat the pods. I grow them for the beans inside. And I use them instead of kidney beans. Have grown kidney beans in the past. I just find these are a bit bigger. They are a climbing bean, whereas the kidney beans are a bush bean, so you don't get as many. I just grow these instead. So I've also got Cherokee Trail of Tears, and I know I've mentioned these beans before. I love them. The story behind them is such a sad one. So if you haven't heard about the beans of Trail of Tears, Cherokee Trail of Tears, go and read the story. It is so sad. So yeah, I love growing these beans. They are really tasty as well. And I've also got pea beans, my favourite. Oh, I love these beans. And they're also called like yin and yang beans, but I call them a pea bean. And they're dark maroon one side and like a white the other side, and they're just gorgeous. These are all climbing beans. Next we're going to go on to the bush beans. Now again, these are going to be for eating fresh and for drying, and there's a couple of favourite ones I have and a couple of new ones that I'm going to try this year. So my favourite dwarf French bean ever is called Ferrari. Oh, they are so tasty and they are stringless and you get loads of them, but the only problem is the slugs and snails absolutely love them. And they don't take that long to grow, so you can have like 3 or 4 successions through the year to keep you going. They're just amazing. These can go right up until October and you can do them every couple of weeks. I got these from Wilko's. I got 3 packets because they were on sale for like 20p in their sales, so I got loads of them. And then I've got a dwarf French bean called Cannellino. These are the beans you grow for baked beans and you can put in soups and casseroles. They are ideal for drying. You can also eat them fresh as well, but I don't tend to, because with bush beans you don't get as many on there as climbing beans. Again, these are from Sutton. They're £3.49 for 50 seeds, but I got them from 89p. These I got from Thompson & Morgan. These are a dwarf French bean, but I'm going to be growing them for the seeds inside because the seeds are black, and I love black beans, if you haven't noticed. I just think they're so tasty. And these are great as well for planting in pots on your patio. So if you haven't got much room, these are ace growing them in pots. This is a new one this year for me, and it's this one's also from Sutton's, and they're 89p for 120 seeds. And this is a dwarf French bean called Celine, but it's like a purpley pink colour. Again, I think once you cook them, they go back to green. But yeah, be super easy to spot and to pick. And these are meant to be stringless and just really nice, so I got them. Now then, these are called Coco de Pampol, and they're the round little beans. I got these seeds, I managed to get these seeds from France, or about 6 years ago maybe. They're round little white beans like so, and they're a bush bean. And again, I don't eat these fresh, so we have them as fried beans, and they're absolutely gorgeous. And then in here I do have some edamame beans. Now then, I haven't done that great. The first year I did amazing with them, but after that I haven't done that great with them. But I don't think I gave them enough room, so we will see. I'm going to give them a go again this year and just see how I get on. Because once you plant them, they are very easy to look after. And I love edamame beans. They're just a great source of protein as well. I'm going to go through my peas next because I've got a few of them as well. I love growing peas. The whole family loves when I grow the peas. They don't usually make it home because we tend to eat them fresh off the pod straight in the allotment. Sorry, that was my dad. Last year I was really on the ball because every year the pigeons get to them. They absolutely love them, and once they peck the tops off, that's it. People say they grow, they don't. They don't do as well. They just completely annihilate them. So what I did last year is I grew them at home because the mice love the seeds, grew them at home, planted them out, and then I covered them in like a cloche tunnel until they were big enough that the pigeons didn't fancy them. And so I had great success with that. Then I thought, oh, it's safe now. So I planted a load more out, just little babies. They ate the lot. So I know this year I'm just going to have to cover them until they're quite big. And then I only grow peas usually at the start of the growing season, because if I start them, say, after June, the pea moth gets them, and then they get like little maggots in the peas. I have got a pea called Feltham First, and I've also got a pea called Kelvender Wonder. I plant them both at the same time, but one comes up quicker than the other, so I've got a bit of a succession. And then I've got a Petit Pois pea called Waverex, and these are from Premier Seed Direct, and you get like 520 seeds. So I have never ever grown Mange 2 or Sugar Snap peas, never. My plot neighbours grow them, and I ask if I can have a few to try and do it. But I saw these on Sutton's for 89p, and I thought, you know what, because I'm just trying to grow a few things, but lots of it, I'm going to go for these as well. These are usually $4.99, they were 89p, and this is mixed colour. So you get golden sweet, Shiraz, Oregon sugar. So a yellow, a purple and a green one. So I'm going to give those a go this year. Right, and the last one for my peas, this is a new one as well, and it's called Maro, and these are mushy peas. How amazing. So it's like a marrowfat pea, I'm presuming. You rehydrate for stews and casseroles, and you've got to harvest them when they are dry and hard on the plant. So you don't pick the pods, you leave them on and let the seeds grow inside, the peas grow inside, and it makes perfect mushy peas. And these were 89p instead of £2.79 for 300, and they were from Sutton's as well. And then I've got salad leaves and rocket that there's also spinach in there, which I'm gonna grow. I have got beetroot. I usually grow bolt hardy. I have got some bolt hardy seeds here, which I will try, but they did rubbish for me last year. So I'm not sure, but I'm gonna do a multicoloured one, pink and white striped one. And I've also got a golden eye one. These were from Lidl. They've got really good seeds in Lidl. And these grew really well last year. So that's the beetroot that I'm going to grow. I also have some called bull's blood, which you just grow for the leaves. You can grow for the bulb as well, but the leaves are really tasty to put in salads. Tomatoes. So I'm really cutting down on my tomatoes this year. I won't be growing as many. So I managed to get this one, a blight resistant tomato, and it is called Crimson Crush, and it says it's 100% blight resistant. So these were 89p instead of £5.65. Wow. And I got 10 seeds, so I got 2 packets of them. So I can grow some this year and next year as well. So I'm hoping they are really good. Yeah, and they're bred in the UK, so you can grow them outside. That's the main thing, outside. I've also got Gardener's Delight. They did really well for me last year, and I'm really chuffed with them, so I'm going to do them. I have got my Tomato Yellow Delight as well. I will do a few of them. And then I got these Rainbow Blend from Thompson & Morgan, but I didn't realise they're for growing in a greenhouse. So I wasn't going to grow much in my polytunnel this year, but I will grow a couple of these. There's only 5 seeds in this pack, so I'll give them a go and see how they do. These are the Caped gooseberries that I'm gonna grow. They're like a little orange fruit in a paper husk. Spring onions, I've got white Lisbon, Ishikura, which are my favourite to grow ever, and I've got the red or purple spring onions that I got from Thompson & Morgan. I've got some radish here, so I've got like normal radish, and I've got a lot of, what are these? French breakfast, they're long ones, so I grow them. And then I've got a couple for growing in the winter. This is a black Spanish round one, and you sow it July to August. I've also got a China Rose winter one, a watermelon, red meat. So I think it's green and white on the outside and pink in the middle when you cut into it. So I've got radish for now, well, for springtime and for like winter time. Lettuce, I have got loads of lettuce, and the ones I tend to do are Little Gem and Black Seeded Simpson. Absolutely love it. I've got a couple in here that I'm going to try. Well, I've had these seeds from last year. They're loose butterhead types, which are Freckles. And I've got like a red salad bowl, and I've also got some winter lettuce in here as well, and an all year round one, so I can have some all year, because when it gets hot, lettuce bolts really quickly, and as soon as that flower head starts growing on the lettuce, it turns all the leaves really bitter, but it grows really fast, so you can do it in succession. So if one starts bolting, you've got the next one ready to go. Cucumber, I've got 2 types of cucumber I grow. I've tried other varieties, but I always go back to these. One is Marketmore 76, and I got these seeds free with my magazine, and I stopped getting them in lockdown, so that's how old these seeds are, but the germination's still really good. And I also, from Premier Seeds Direct, got La Diva. Love this cucumber. And you get like 30 seeds for £1. It might be £1.10 now, but yeah, they grow really well. And I get loads of tasty cucumbers from them. And the skins aren't too tough either. I've got leeks here, I've got Musselburgh, Lion and Elephant maybe. But yeah, those are my leeks. Oh, sweet corn. So I always do I always do early bird sweet corn. Past couple of years it hasn't done that great for me. So I am trying a different variety, and I got these from Sutton. The reason I like growing early bird is, I think it might be called Swift early bird, I'm not sure, but you get 70 seeds for like £1. It's really cheap. And so this year I thought, no, I'm not going to do this or that. I'm going to go for F1 Moonshine. There's only 25 seeds in these packets. They're usually £4.49, but I got them for 89p each. I got 4 packets because I like to grow a lot of sweet corn. And I'm just hoping maybe I'll get more than 1 cob on them. Usually I only get 1 cob, and sometimes they're not very big with the early birds. So yeah, fingers crossed, because we love sweet corn, absolutely love it. And it's meant to be the best tasting corn on the cob. Squash. So I have got a few squash, because I usually grow loads and loads. Last year I didn't grow that many, but this year I'm going to grow loads again. They're easy to maintain. The food that I feed them is free because I use the mare's tail in water. I use stinging nettles, and I also use a bit of chicken manure as well. And they take over a lot of space, and they suppress the weeds, and it's just great. Yeah, I've got enough room. I'm going to grow loads and loads. We love squash, and I usually do loads of different varieties, and I'm going to do that again this year. I'm going to do it. So I have got yellow courgette and yellow patty pan. I've got the mixed patty pan as well. Oh yeah, I've got the little ball squash this year, like courgettes, sorry. These are called summer squash because they don't store well, but they're really good chopped and stuck in the freezer. So I've got loads of squash, summer squash that I'm going to do, and courgettes. I love growing pumpkins. Well, my son loves growing pumpkins. We always try and get 3 pumpkins a year, 1 for him, 1 for my niece and nephew. This year we got 4. Usually I've got loads of pumpkin seeds, but for some strange reason this year I haven't. So I've got some called Pumpkin Big Macs, but I think they're safe seed, and I've only got 2 jack-o'-lanterns left, so I'm going to have to get some more pumpkin seeds. And then winter squash mashed potato. When I first grew these, they did really, really well for me. They're a white squash. They do start off a bit like a courgette plant, is where they don't trial off everywhere and then they just go mad. And I got a lot of squash from just a couple of plants, and they're what you call an acorn squash. They're shaped like an acorn, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them left. I'm also doing a spaghetti squash. So they're long and yellow, and when you do them with a fork they look like spaghetti. I've got here some honeyboat. It is my absolute favourite squash in the whole wide world, and they're long and yellow with a green striping, and when they're dry and get older they turn orange. Oh, beautiful. They are so hard to grow, so hard. I have never ever had more than like 3 or 4 of these, and that was my best year. Usually I end up like 1 and a little baby, and that is it. But I've got the room this year. I want to fill that space. I've also got Waltham butternut winter squash, which is your standard butternut squash, and I've also got a Hunter F1. I grew these last year. One of them was massive, the others were tiny, but we had all that dry weather, so I think that's why I got tiny squash. So yeah, Hunter. I used to grow these all the time, and they're called Autumn Crown. They do really, really well. They look like a pumpkin, but they are a butternut squash, and they are gorgeous. They are just a bit fiddly to peel, but I've got some seed here. I've only got like 3 or 4 seeds. So I'm going to use them and see if they germinate, give it a go. And I've also got squash called Winter Buffy Ball, and they are tiny little balls. They're gorgeous. You get loads of them. And again, I've only got a few seeds left, so I need to fill up that space this year. Be low maintenance as possible. And then I also got these last year and completely forgot about them, and they're a bit of a novelty, and they're for my son. So one's called a snake gourd and one's called a swan gourd. These aren't for eating, these are for decoration, and when you dry them they turn a bit woody. One looks like a swan and one looks like a snake. So just a bit of fun for my son. And then my last big one is brassicas. Now usually I grow, every now and then I'll cough, my cough comes back. I'm not as bad as when it was, but one day I'll get like a day no coughing and the next day I cough again. Strange. Yeah, so brassicas, usually I have a massive bed for brassicas, and they do take a lot of work because I have to cover them because the pigeons at the allotment, they're really bad and they would just annihilate all my brassicas, and I love brassicas, but yeah, getting the nets off and weeding them every week, a lot of work. So I'm not going to do as many brassicas this year. I'm not going to do it. I am going to do swede, and I know people don't think of this as a brassica, but it actually is, and again, pigeons love it. Kohlrabi, I've got to grow kohlrabi. I absolutely love it. I am going to grow green and purple this year. I start the green one in February, and I know I said that I was going to wait until the painter and decorator had been to start sowing any seeds, but those are the one things I will be sowing is kohlrabi, because when I grew them in February I had the best harvest ever. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to grow some in succession, so I'm going to go grow the green ones in February, and then a little bit later on I will grow the purple ones because they seem to do better when it's warmer. And then I also have a giant, enormous kohlrabi, which I won't be starting until the early summer, so I can harvest them for winter. And apparently these are really good for storage as well. So yeah, going to give them a go this year. Tried to grow cauliflowers and everything last year, but no, they didn't do well. So I'm just going to do this quick heading calibrates or broccoli, you know, the green broccoli. I grew this last year and it was great. It was super quick. The heads weren't massive, they were quite small, but they were brilliant because then they grew really fast and I could cut them out and put some more stuff in. So I'm going to be doing that. Really low maintenance as well, so they're really easy. With cauliflower you have to fold them up and stuff like that. And then I'm going to be growing some Romanesco or dinosaur eggs, my son calls these. These you can sow like for winter, so I sow them maybe May and June and harvest them a little bit into the autumn then. So I'll have that broccoli first and then this. And you don't have to, it's a mix between a broccoli and a cauliflower. I'd say more like a cauliflower, but again a lot less maintenance than cauliflower. You don't have to fold the leaves up. When the cauliflower starts forming inside, you just leave them and they're great, so I'm going to be doing that. Then I'm going to do a couple of cabbages. So I've got a green one here, like a white cabbage for like my sauerkraut and coleslaw and stuff like that. I've also got a red cabbage. This is from Sutton's, and I got this one because it's a club root resistant, because I wasn't sure last year if it's because in my new plot, the ground is so hard that the roots got distorted, or if they actually got club root. So this is a club root variety. I'm going to try and then compare, you know, and see. what happens. So I got 20 seeds for $4.99, but these were 89p, and this is a red cabbage, and this is for cooking and for pickling and for putting in salads, and oh, just gorgeous. Yeah, so I've got that. I always grow Savoy. I have to grow Savoy. It is my favourite cabbage in the whole wide world, so I'm going to do that. I do have some little sweetheart cone cabbages in here as well, but we'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to grow them yet, but definitely these. And then I've got my red Chinese cabbage, but this is for later on in the year, for autumn. These do not do well in heat, they hate it. And then I've got a few kales. I'm going to grow kales this year because the ones that I grow, they are great alternative to lettuce, and you can't freeze lettuce and then defrost them. It does change the texture a little bit, but you don't have to cook it all the time. So I've got my red Russian kale because I showed you in the previous video, after all the snow and the -8 degrees we've had, it has done amazing. It's still looking gorgeous, absolutely stunning. So yeah, I've got my red Russian kale that I will be growing. I've got a couple of new ones here. So I've got kale, which is a baby leaf mix, so just greens and reds. You can eat them raw, delicious in salads, or you can steam them slightly, so they're to pick young as well. And then I've got this KX1, just because I've seen this kale for a while, and you can grow it all year round and harvest it all year round, and it's really quick to grow, and it just looks a really, really pretty colour. And again, pick it young for salads, or leave it grow a little bit bigger and cook it as steam it, boil it instead of an alternative with cabbage. And then I got garlic kale, so I thought, you know, I use this as an alternative to garlic as well. You know, I could put it in stir fries, I can chop it up and mix it with oil and coat it over a chicken, or cut a chicken breast and stuff it. I also got this from Sutton's for 89p, usually $3.99. You get 1 gram of seeds in here, and it is called Native British Leaves Urban Foraging Mix. And you guys know I absolutely love foraging, and I know I'll be growing this in the allotment and it won't be technically foraging, but if I can do that and introduce these things to the allotment and they come up every year, it makes my life easier, and it's just great. So it's a mix of native leaf vegetable plants. So there's a mix of chicory, salad burnet, fennel, mallow, garlic mustard and sheep's sorrel. I just thought I would try it in a little patch and see how I got on, because I'm not sure what these things look like. I don't want to be eating the weeds thinking so I'm gonna do a little bit of research and find some pictures so I know exactly what these look like. Fennel I know, but how ace is that? To have my own little urban foraging mix up at my allotment. Yeah, so even though I'm not growing many things, I'm growing lots of things. So like the brassicas, I would usually grow like sprouts, purple sprouting broccoli, green sprouting broccoli, loads of different cabbages, and I'm not going to do that this year. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to grow like one thing, like my kohlrabi, but lots of it. So I will start with the green, then we'll go on to the purple, and then I'll go on to the giant kohlrabi. So I'll still have lots of kohlrabi and it'll take up space, but I won't have like a little bit of sprouts and a little bit of broccoli and a little bit of kohlrabi, and for it not to do anything and then me not get any fruit and veg. And this is just to build up my mojo again and my confidence. And next year I'll get brave again. This is what happens. I get brave and I think, oh yeah, I'm going to grow loads of stuff. And then I might have a rubbish year and I think, oh, I'm just going to stick to what I know I can grow. I'm not growing carrots. I'm going to see what the parsnips are doing when the ground has defrosted a bit to see if it was worth it. And then I might buy, I haven't even bought any parsnip seeds this year. I'm going to grow some of it at home because I do get good success rate with that. But I'm going to do a lot of direct sowing as well this year. I've got clay soil. It takes a bit longer to warm up, so I won't have things as early as I usually do. I'll have them a bit later on. Exciting times, guys, exciting times. And then I've got my potatoes as well. So I've already got shallots in, I've got garlic in. I haven't managed to plant my onion bulbs, but I will. I'll put them in and see what happens with them. Got my potatoes coming at the end of the month. I think they said they were going to post them. So beginning of February I'll start there. So I'll still have lots and lots of food. Yes, so if you're growing anything this year, let me know. Leave a comment below. If you're trying anything weird and unusual, let me know. And also, if you found any hints or tips that you've had great success by doing stuff, again, please let me know. Right, okay, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry it's a bit of a long one. Take care and I will see you soon. Bye.